Welcome to first of what I hope to be many segments of the SoCal Lulabros. My name is John.
I'm Blaze.
And if you're watching this, you're possibly being held hostage somewhere by your wife or partner or significant other. Hey, we can't help you because this is pre-recorded. There's nothing we can do. But just give us a few minutes and maybe we'll make you feel a little better because you probably just had the talk.
Yep.
What was your talk like, Blaze?
The talk is where your wife comes and she's like, you know what, about this Lularoe thing, I think I want to do this. My wife, she attended a party, a pop-up party, and then about a couple weeks later, she kind of presented it to me and was like, hey, what do you think about spending $6,000 to start a business doing women's retail clothing? And I was like, okay. So, yeah, that was our talk. And I was, at first it'd be irresponsible not to kind of question it and kind of, you should, because that's kind of a, and then you hear things like MLM, which to me conjures up images of, Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes, which are totally separate, but whatever, they get bunched together. And so she kind of gave me a brief rundown, and she already did her research, so she was able to present more, and I got more knowledge, which helped us make the decision, and we kind of went from there. And it's been the best blessing in our life, other than being married and our 6-year-old child. But yeah, it's just blessed our family so above and beyond anything. So.
Well, my wife had been a career-long teacher, and she'd been home for a number of years with our children. And she had talked to your wife, actually, and came home and said, you know what, I want to sell Lularoe. And I had no idea what Lularoe was, but I hated the idea from the get-go. I will be honest with you, and I'm being completely honest, it was the dumbest thing she'd ever talked to me about. I thought this was the worst thing. And a couple things I knew would happen. We'd lose all our money, the little money we had. Mm-hmm. We'd go into further debt. And the third worst thing, we'd lose all our friends because we'd be constantly bugging them to buy clothes. And I'll be honest with you, I said no. I wrote a very convincing long email to my wife, passionately telling her that this is dumb, we shouldn't do it. There's other things we can do with our money. But she'd done her research. Mm-hmm. She came back to me, she countered a lot of my fears in a positive way. It wasn't a test of our marriage by any stretch. And my first thought was, okay, let's give this a try, give you a few months, and we'll see where it goes. It has turned into much more than I ever could imagine, which kind of brings us to our second point. Mm-hmm. I guess the first point is it's okay to be scared. If you're not scared, you probably shouldn't do it, because this brings us to our second point. This is a real business. It's not easy. It's a job. And I guess I'll roll right into the fact that one of the biggest misconceptions I had about Lularoe is that she would be working at home. I would come home, much like Leave It to Beaver. Mm-hmm. And
in your Ferrari.
In my Ferrari that she bought after 2 months of Lularoe. And the house would be immaculate, the dinner. And I'm not really like that, but I thought that it would be that simple. And the reality is it's a full-time job. And there are people on my wife's team that do work another job and do this, and they do a wonderful job. But the point of the matter is, for my wife, because of her energy and excitement and go-to-itiveness, there was no way this was going to be just a part-time or a fractional job. I don't know what you can talk about that.
Obviously you guys know your wife, so if they're gung-ho, this is the most hours that she'll ever put into a part-time job, or anyone could ever put into a part-time job, because it is so involved, especially if you're trying to get it off the ground. I remember my wife pretty much breaking down after 3 months of pop-ups every weekend and still working. She had 2 or 3 different jobs at that time. So to say it's part-time, you got to realize what they're doing too. It's not just, because I had the same thing. I was like, well, you work at home, so why I come home and the house isn't clean or anything. I would just say expect that, because there's a lot of moving parts, and especially if your wife and you, because it is your business too, you're going to be benefiting from it too. But if to be successful, there's time and hustle, and you got to work at it, but the payoff is awesome.
In our next segment, we're going to talk about what that average week looks like in the life in the Lularoe, of being a support person, being a Lulabro, or whatever function you perform in that partnership. But the last little thing I think we should talk about is life in the queue, which is before you even get into being a consultant, is there's probably about 6 weeks now where you're waiting.
Yeah, I think the last I heard was 6 weeks. We were fortunate enough when there was no queue, but so fortunate and unfortunate, because I think the queue allows you and your wife to kind of come up with a plan, maybe a business plan. It wouldn't hurt, to figure out some of the, you want to reach the online market and do these things and start feeling people out, contacting people who might want to do a pop-up, and just kind of prepping. Once the inventory's here, you guys are ready to hit the ground running and take it off. So I'd say the queue is a good thing. Use those 6 weeks to learn as much as you can, follow different consultants who are successful, and tricks of the trade, and just see what you can do or how you can tweak it.
And for our time in the queue, which I think was even longer than 6 weeks, it was how we're going to pay for this. Now, once again, if Lularoe ends up being the thing you do, good for you, and you're going to do great. I would assume if you're watching this video, you're going to do great. But the point of the matter is, how are you going to pay for it? That was the number one thing I told my wife. I said, are we going to go into more debt to get out of debt? And that's something that every partnership, every marriage, or whatever it is, has to figure that out. If you put this on a credit card, you're racing against interest, you're racing against time to get it paid off. Maybe that works for you. Maybe you got the crazy aunt who's got a lot of money and she's willing to give you some money, a small interest loan or something. Whatever it is, that time in the queue, you got to figure out how you're going to pay for it, because when that call comes, it's go time. It's when you're make your initial investment.
That's a good point. Yep.
And then the other thing is, and we'll get into more of this later, but it is a business. And my wife, while she was in the queue, actually bought things and did giveaways and developed a base of people on her page before she even had product. And I thought this was the craziest thing ever. I'm like, why would you do this? You have nothing. You're giving something away that you don't even have. I mean, she had bought these on her own and gave them away, but that was her starting her business. So you have a lot to decide in that 6 week period, and make lists, talk it out. But the last thing I would really say is make sure you're both on the same page, how you're gonna pay for it. Know that there's a huge time commitment going forward in this business. And also, Blaze, I don't want to end on a negative note. Once it gets going, it's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We both got to go on a cruise, for heaven's sakes, because of our wives' hard work.
Yeah, so I'll end with, congratulations. If this is, obviously you're either in the queue or starting out, or whatever point you're at, everybody can get to. But congratulations, because like I said, it's hard work, but so you'll hear this over and over again. It's hard, or it's an easy job. No, how do they put it? It's a simple job, but it's not easy. I think that's the way it's put, is that, it's selling clothes, which is simple, because people want clothes, you're going to sell them clothes. But it's not easy, because you really need to build it up. You need to have a plan, you need to communicate, but congratulations, because it's just, like I said, it's been above and beyond any blessing we've had in our family. So.